Hello everyone, my name is Pradhan Shrestha and I am a computer science student at Concordia University, Chicago. So this is the second part of my Linux tutorial series. In the first part, I talked about what Linux is, its different distributions, so basically different versions of Linux. And then I also talked about how you can use Linux into your machine. So if you haven't watched that video, then I would highly recommend to watch it. So in the second part, I'm going to talk about some basic Linux commands. So let's get started. So as you can see, this is called prompt, so where you can write your Linux commands. So and this one is the name of the user, which is Pradhan Shrestha, and this is the device name. So and this is the directory. So in Linux, directory is basically the folder. So I have created this Linux tutorial directory for this tutorial. Okay, so the first command we are going to look at is ls. So ls basically does is it lists the files and folders which is inside Linux tutorial for in this case. So if I hit enter, you can see that I have file1.txt, file2.txt, my directory, which is also a directory. So you can also put folders inside folders. So and my file.txt, and this is my program.cpp, and this is the executable file, which is my program.exe. So the next command we are going to look at is more. So more basically does is it shows the contents in the file. So in this case, if I type so file1.txt, then you will see the content. So inside file1.txt, I have, this is my file. So if you so I'm going to type file2.txt. so this gives the content of file2.txt, and in this case it's not giving the full content. So to see the full content, I have to press the space bar, and after pressing the space bar, I can see the full content. Okay, so the next command which I am going to do is mkdir. So this command helps to make directories. So if I type mkdir, and then let's say I'm going to type sample directory. So what it does is, so if I type ls and c, so sample directory has been created. Okay, so this command helps to create directories. So the next command I'm going to talk about is mb. So this helps to move files or directories from one directory to another. So if I want to move file1.txt to my newly created directory, which is sample dir, so what I do is move. So which file I'm going to move? I'm going to move file1.txt to sample directory. So if I do ls also, okay, so if I do ls, so you can see that file1.txt is no longer seen, so which is and the reason is because it's inside sample directory. So in the same way, the move command, so mb command, is also used to rename the files. So in this case, if I say move file1.txt, so I have file2.txt, so let's rename that. So if I want to rename file2.txt to file3.txt, then so if I do ls, and then as you can see that file2.txt is no longer there, so I have file3.txt. so if I write more file3.txt, then as you can see, these are the same contents of file2 which was previously there. So more file2.txt, so I have these contents. Now I have the same contents in file3.txt. So the file2.txt has been renamed. So if I hit spacebar, I can see the full contents. So in the same way, so you may be wondering, how do I change from one directory to another? For example, in this case, if I do ls, I have sample directory. So how do I go inside sample directory? So for that we have cd. So you guessed it right, cd means change directory. So if I type cd sample directory, then now as you can see my path has been changed. So it is inside Linux tutorial, and then again it goes inside which is sample directory. So if I do ls, then I can see my file1.txt there, which is inside the sample directory. Okay, so now if you want to see your the path, the full path of your directory which you are working, then we have one command which is pwd, which stands for print working directory. So it's from home, the username Prajan Shrestha, to Linux tutorial to sample directory. Okay, so now you may be wondering like how do I go one directory backwards? So for that we have cd dot dot. So this command helps to move to one directory upwards. So if I do that and then press enter, then now I'm inside Linux tutorial. So if I do ls, then I can see the contents of Linux tutorial directory. Okay, so now I want to talk about absolute path and relative path in Linux. So absolute path is something which starts from the root directory. Okay, so if I want to see the contents of, let's say, sample directory, then I can see the contents using the absolute path. So for example, I have file1.txt inside sample directory. So if I do more, so in this case slash home slash Prajan dash Shrestha slash Linux tutorial slash sample directory slash file1.txt, then I can see the contents of file1.txt. However, I'm inside Linux tutorial, but if I type the full path, then I can see the contents. So wherever I am, that doesn't matter because I have started from the absolute path. So absolute path is something, it's called root directory in Linux. So you can understand that it's the starting point. So in the same way, there is also another one which is the relative path. So relative path is something, relative path is something where you are right now. So for example, so if I want to, so I'm in Linux tutorial, so let's say if I do ls, then I have my file.txt. So if I want to move my file.txt to let's say sample directory, so what I can do is I can just move so my file.txt to sample directory. So if I now if I have to see the contents of my file.txt, then I can see it. So I'm in Linux tutorial, but I want to see the contents of my file.txt. So but my file that, so if I do ls, then my file.txt is inside sample directory. However, I can use the relative path and I can view the contents. So for instance, if I type more sample directory slash my file.txt, so I can see the contents of my file.txt. So this is the relative path. So relative path is something which starts from the directory which you are in. Okay, so for instance, if I go to certain point, so if I'm going from my house then it can be so it can be I have to take straight and I have to take right. So if I have to start from my friend's house, then that will be different, right? So relative path is something like that, and absolute path is something which starts from the starting point. So the starting point will always be the same. Okay, so the next, okay, so if I do ls, and then I can see so as previously discussed, I can see my directories and then files. So if I have to remove or delete, let's say let's say file3.txt, then there is a command which is called rm, which stands for remove directory, remove file. And I write which file I want to remove or delete. So rm file3.txt. So if I hit ls, then as you can see, file3.txt is no longer there. So in the same way, there is also a command called rmdir, which stands for remove directory, and this command helps to delete the directories. For example, if I have to delete my directory, so I use rmdir and then the directory name, so my directory. So if I hit ls, then as you can see, my directory is no longer there. Okay, so the next command I discussed about, for example, if I have to go to sample directory, then I do cd, which stands for change directory. So this one is change directory, and then yeah, I think I have explained it earlier, so I want to explain it once again. So if you have to go to one directory upwards, then you type cd dot dot. Okay, and that way you go to one directory upwards, which is now in this case, which is Linux directory. Okay, so we'll take a pause here. So these are some of the basic commands of Linux. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to explain about some advanced commands which deals with security, which deals with security and stuff like that. So if you found this tutorial helpful, then do me a favor and hit the like button and the subscribe, and if you haven't subscribed already, then please subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much.